All right, let me scoot my seat closer. There we go, old man sounds. And so last we spoke, I was working on the lines that I put on here and preparing to work down to them. And right now, it's a very pleasing face shape. Now work as precisely as possible. And so I've got the pen lines. I used pen, not pencil, because I wanted to have consistent thickness. I worked the face shape down to those, which means I still have a little bit more to go for adjustment, because I might work very precisely down to the lines, but when I'm sighting it, it's like, oh man, kind of goes in a little bit or it goes out. I like to leave a little wiggle room for the final shaping of the face. I call this the face. Now the dealio is, when I work this down nearly to the finished thickness profile, taper, it's very easy just with a sanding block in your eye to zero it in on a pleasing shape. You have to use your eyes, you know, as much as you use the lines. It's eyes and lines that make a good bow a good bow. Now, something to consider is it doesn't need to be perfectly parallel. If you've got a 1/16 of an inch off here and there where it's a 1/16 of an inch wider and maybe a 1/16 of an inch narrower, not as big of a deal as if your thickness is off. Because how it works, and there are so many variables, but let's just say that removing one unit, whether or not it's a 64th or what have you, just one unit of change in the face is equal to 4 units. Let me think this thing through. It's 4 times more effective getting bend in a bow per unit of thickness that it is face. Okay, unwrap that ball of yarn. That's just to say that if you remove 1 bit off the width, it's a lot more life-changing than it is 1 bit off the face. It's just a more effective kind of thing. I'm going to give you a second to like sort out my poor explanation. I'm just saying that it's more effective to remove thickness than it is face as far as making things bend. That's just the way it works out. Oh, some visitors are leaving. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, I know it's about 60 inches long, but I'm going to measure it anyway. 59.5, so basically 30 inches. I'm going to use a pencil in this, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to center, and I'll show you, don't panic. Center, if it's off a little bit, no, that looks perfect. I made a tick mark, that's the center. Then I'm going to measure, because it's kind of 30, get that up there, okay, about 30. Hold that up there. I'm going to measure 10, and I'm going to measure to 20, breaking them into thirds. It's beguiling me. So I've got that. And I'm going to go around and do it all the way around. I'm going to do it all the way around. So just be patient. Bows are patient. 10. It's got to be a better way to do this. 20. Keep up with me. Keep up with me. 10. 20. And I almost sang a stupid song. This is the way we mark our bows. Mark our bows. 20. Yeah, good enough. Just needs to be close. And I'm going to mark 5 from the center. Or there and abouts. There and abouts. So let's mark 4 from each side. See, I'm going to show you that it's not that super critical. 4. 4. Now I'm going to go one step farther. And I'll show you, don't worry. Doink. Now as I'm preparing this bowl, and I'm going to put an X for the center. So I'm preparing this bowl. Keep in mind that if your lines deviate or your Scribe-O-Matic changes or you're just not pleased, sand them off and do them again, because this is very critical at this point. Do not be afeared of redoing it. You want to have it as goodly as possible. Alright. I failed to do this. I'm just going to sight down and sight down. So this is what I have. Center 4 inches, and these were my thirds. Now let's get this party started. The magic thickness is 1/2 of an inch. So I'm going to do this. This is the handle section. Now the deal is, this is going to be a lightish bow, and so I know that if my handle is a little more, and this is 1/16 greater than 1/2 an inch through the handle section, it's going to be enough. It varies with the kind of wood, varies with the length and stuff like that, but again, this is going to be a lighter bow and it's going to add maybe 10 pounds with the sinew. Now here's the trick. This is the thickness of the handle section, roughly. I'm going to remove a little bit more, but that's final tailoring. Now because of the way I mark, and I'm going to show you this, I'm going to go beyond. Yeah, the pen's making a liar out of me. It's not marking. There we go. There we go. Come on! Turn, you stupid thing. The pen's kind of screwing up, but for the sake of this discussion, do it on the other side. And I will show you what I'm up to when I'm done. The pen is not writing in spots. You see how that's the center, and you see that black line? That's what I'm going to work to in the handle. And look at, I went beyond it on both sides. This is the thickness of the handle, that line, but I went beyond it, and I'll show you why in a bit. Now I'm going to pinch this a little bit so there's a difference. Now I'm going to go beyond my line. A bit. That's not critical. Oop, this is what I'm talking about. Goes to the bottom one. Good enough, I'll remember that. Overdrawing it. Don't overdraw your checking account. Overdraw your lines here. See how funny I am? I'm just freaking funny. Yeah, that'll work. It's a little exaggerated. I'm going to have to redo my lines a little bit. Now I'm going to pinch it a little bit, making sure. Now I did that one, and I'll show you, don't worry. Pinch it a little bit more, making sure it's a little thinner. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to take my time when I'm not talking and redo these. But you'll get an idea. Forgot to mark those. Oh no! Concentration. I can't concentrate on two things at once. Let's pick the best side here. This looks pretty good. And again, I'm going to redraw these lines because they have to be perfect, and I was kind of distracted. Thin, thin, and it passes. I'm going to have to make it thinner, more distinct. Then the next one drops down beyond this point. Then the next one starts somewhere in here and goes beyond this point. Or it goes all the way through. Now I've created a series of steps, and again, I'm going to have to redraw these and be a little more careful. But you'll get what I'm talking about. It goes from thin, little thicker, and the handle's even thicker. It's 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, whatever. Now the reason why I went beyond is where the mental exercise takes place. On the very tip, it's going to be thinner than this. This is pretty thick, but again, redo my lines. I'm going to go right to the line so I can see it, and then I'm going to take it so it is angled. I need to taper it, not have steps, but the reason I went beyond this reference line is it gives me an idea for tapering. Then I hit the line, this next line, get a little more distance, hit the next line, run along that line for a bit, and then angle, and then this is almost right along that line because that's the handle section. This is the area of greatest leverage with a bending bow. But yeah, again, going to redraw the line so it's better. But you get my idea. Use your Scribe-O-Matic and draw a series of lines. I think I better get up there. Who knows? The turkeys might be wandering around in the driveway again. Now I can improve this. I could make this more, and I think I will, make this more accurate, is make a channel in this piece and then drill a hole through this piece and actually have a wing nut, and so it can't do this. That was probably what happened there, is because it jostled a little bit. But see, I wound up going to the edges here and not going right to my width, and so I'm not going to goof myself up sanding these off and redoing it, and I'm going to make a channel in here. Finally get around to it, drill a hole through this side, and have it so it completely locks and can't move no matter what. Well, that should give you some idea. This is a very pleasing bow shape, and I might well, I probably will narrow the tips a little bit, and then I have the option of just a straight taper or rounding it a little bit. It's all visual. At this point, it's all visual. But that's it. That's all. There ain't no more.